The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Admiral Zektar's four arms gestured dramatically at the holographic display. The massive screen showed a fleet of sleek silver ships bearing down on the peaceful mining colony of Kepler 442b. The Void Hunters had returned after a century of absence, and their reputation for complete planetary annihilation preceded them like a shadow of death. Honored council members, Zektar's voice resonated through his translator unit. The Void Hunters have emerged from dark space with a fleet 3 times larger than when they last terrorized our sectors. Intelligence reports indicate they possess new weapon technologies that can crack a planet's core in minutes. The assembled delegates from 12 different species shifted nervously in their bio-adapted seats. The crystalline representative's light form flickered with anxiety, while the gaseous Nephilim ambassador's containment suit hissed with distressed pressure releases. Everyone remembered the stories their grandparents told about the last Void Hunter incursion. Counselor Vexani, the elderly Thraxian diplomat, raised her tentacled appendage. What of the human colony ships that were reported in that sector? Surely they must be evacuated immediately. A collective murmur of agreement rippled through the chamber. The humans were the newest members of the Galactic Council, having joined only 50 years ago after their first successful, faster-than-light voyage. They were a curious species, known more for their artistic contributions and diplomatic enthusiasm than military prowess. Their small fleet of exploration vessels and colony ships were considered quaint by galactic standards, equipped with basic defensive systems that could barely repel space pirates. Admiral Zektar's expression darkened as he manipulated the holographic controls. That's where the situation becomes more complicated. We sent evacuation orders to the 3 human colony ships in the Kepler system 48 hours ago. They acknowledged our transmission, but refused to leave. The chamber erupted in shocked chittering, gasping, and other species-specific expressions of disbelief. Counselor Mordeth of the warrior caste Klingari slammed his armored fist on his desk. Foolish mammals! Do they not understand what the Void Hunters represent? These are not raiders seeking plunder. They are harbingers of extinction. Perhaps their translation systems malfunctioned, suggested Counselor Yilnara from her aquatic tank. Humans have always seemed reasonably intelligent if overly optimistic about peaceful resolutions to conflict. Admiral Zektar activated another display showing communication logs. No malfunction. Their response was quite clear. I'll play the recording now. He touched a control, and a human voice filled the chamber, speaking in accented but clear galactic standard. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the UES Defiance. We appreciate the Council's concern, but we will not abandon the colonists on Kepler 442b. We have families down there, Admiral, 3,000 souls who trusted us to keep them safe. The Void Hunters will have to go through us first. The silence that followed was deafening. Finally, Counselor Vexani spoke in a whisper. They intend to fight? Another voice recording played, this one from a different human ship. This is Captain Rodriguez of the UES Resilience. My people didn't cross the void between galaxies to run at the first sign of trouble. We stand with Captain Chen. A third recording followed. Captain Okafor of the UES Determination here. We're not leaving. Send whatever help you can, but we're not abandoning this system. The implications hit the Council like a physical blow. 3 small human vessels, each carrying perhaps 500 souls, intended to stand against a Void Hunter fleet that had annihilated entire spacefaring civilizations. It was beyond courage. It bordered on insanity. Their ships, whispered the Nephilim ambassador through his suit's speakers. They carry families, do they not? Scientists, engineers, children. Colony ships, confirmed Admiral Zektar grimly. The humans don't maintain a separation between military and civilian vessels like we do. Their exploration fleet is multi-purpose. Each ship is part warship, part research vessel, part mobile city. Counselor Mordeth stood, his towering form casting shadows across the chamber. The Klingari were known throughout the galaxy as fearsome warriors, and his species had lost more ships to the Void Hunters than any other during their last incursion. This changes nothing. 3 human ships against a Void Hunter armada is still suicide. We must dispatch our fastest vessels to forcibly evacuate them. With respect, interjected Counselor Yilnara, our fastest ships would barely reach the Kepler system before the Void Hunters arrive. According to our projections, first contact will occur in 16 hours. The chamber fell into another heavy silence. On the main display, the tracking data showed the inexorable approach of the Void Hunter fleet toward the Kepler system. Somewhere in that same system, 3 human ships held position, their crews undoubtedly making final preparations for a battle they couldn't possibly win. Admiral Zektar manipulated the display again, zooming in on the human vessels. Even at maximum magnification, they appeared impossibly small against the vastness of space. The UES Defiance, Resilience, and Determination hung in formation near the 4th planet, their hull configurations unfamiliar to most council members. "What do we know about human military capabilities?" asked Counselor Vexani. The Admiral's aide, a young Vulpinian named Kesrix, stepped forward with a data pad. "Our intelligence is limited, Honored Counselor. Humans have never engaged in major conflicts since joining the Council. Their ships appear to be equipped with kinetic weaponry, railguns, and missile systems primarily. Energy shielding seems standard but not particularly advanced. Their vessels are built more for endurance and versatility than pure combat effectiveness." "Primitive," muttered Mordeth. "Noble, perhaps, but primitive." As the council members absorbed this information, long-range sensors began detecting energy signatures from the Void Hunter fleet. The readings were staggering: plasma cannons capable of glassing continents, gravity bombs that could destabilize stellar bodies, and quantum disruptors that could unravel the molecular bonds of entire ships. "The humans don't stand a chance," Admiral Zektar stated flatly. "Even our combined fleets would struggle against a force this size. 3 colony ships, no matter how brave their crews, will be vaporized within minutes of engagement." The weight of impending tragedy settled over the chamber. They were about to witness the extinction of humanity's first deep space colonization effort, carried out by vessels that couldn't possibly comprehend what they were facing. Counselor Yilnara's voice bubbled through her tank's speakers. "Perhaps we should document this for historical records. The humans may die, but their courage should be remembered." "Agreed," said Vexani solemnly. "Let us at least ensure their sacrifice is not forgotten." As the council members began making arrangements to commemorate humanity's doomed last stand, none of them noticed the strange energy readings beginning to emanate from the human ships. The humans had gone silent on all communication channels 6 hours ago, and long-range sensors showed they had moved into a tight defensive formation around the planet. The Void Hunters continued their approach, confident in their overwhelming superiority, unaware that they were about to encounter something unprecedented in their 1,000-year reign of terror. In the darkness of space, 3 human ships waited with the patience of apex predators, their true capabilities hidden behind carefully maintained facades of technological simplicity. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the tactical display as red dots representing the Void Hunter fleet crept closer to engagement range. Her crew moved with quiet efficiency around their stations, each person focused on their individual tasks while maintaining the calm professionalism that had carried humanity across the stars. "Distance to hostile fleet?" Chen asked her tactical officer. 2 million kilometers and closing, Captain. They'll be in weapons range in 14 minutes. Chen nodded, her fingers drumming a nervous rhythm on her command chair's armrest. Around her, the bridge hummed with the controlled energy of a crew preparing for battle. Unlike the sleek, minimalist designs favored by most galactic civilizations, the Defiance's command center felt lived in and practical, with multiple redundant systems and manual backups for every critical function. "Communication from the Resilience," reported Lieutenant Park from the communications station. "On screen." Captain Rodriguez appeared on the main view screen, his weathered face grim but determined. Behind him, Chen could see his own crew making final preparations. "Sarah, my tactical officer is detecting some interesting energy signatures from their lead ships. Whatever weapons they're carrying, they're not like anything in our databases." "Confirmed here as well," Chen replied. "Captain Okafor, are you reading these signatures too?" A third window opened on the screen, showing Captain Okafor's intense features. "Affirmative. My science officer believes they might be some form of exotic matter weapon system. The energy outputs are off the charts." Chen took a deep breath, knowing that her next words would commit all three ships to their chosen course. "Gentlemen, we all knew what we were getting into when we volunteered for deep space colonization. Our families are down there on that planet building something beautiful and new. I don't care if these void hunters have death rays that can crack moons, they're not getting past us." "Understood, Captain Chen," Rodriguez replied formally. "The Resilience stands ready." "The determination as well," added Okafor. "Let's show them what humans are made of." The communication channels closed, leaving Chen alone with her thoughts for a moment, before her tactical officer spoke up again. "Captain, incoming transmission from the lead Void Hunter vessel. They're broadcasting on all frequencies." "Put it through." The view screen flickered, and the image of a Void Hunter appeared. The creature was unlike anything in the galactic databases, a vaguely humanoid form encased in what appeared to be living armor that pulsed with dark energy. Its face was hidden behind a mask that seemed to absorb light, and when it spoke, the voice was like the sound of dying stars. "Primitive vessels, you block our path to harvest. Move aside, and your deaths will be swift. Remain, and we will unmake you slowly, feeding your agonies to the void between spaces." Chen stood up, straightening her uniform. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earthship Defiance. You are not welcome in this system. Withdraw immediately, or we will be forced to engage." The Void Hunter's response was a sound that human vocal cords couldn't have produced, something between laughter and the screaming of tortured metal. "Humans. We have heard whispers of your species in the dark spaces. Young flesh, barely evolved beyond planetary crawling. Your courage is noted, primitive one, but courage without power is merely elaborate suicide." "Maybe," Chen replied steadily. "But before you celebrate, you should know something about humans. We don't just fight to win. We fight to make sure our enemies remember the cost of threatening our families." The transmission cut off abruptly, and Chen turned to her crew. "All hands, this is the captain. Battle stations, activate all defensive systems and prepare to implement Protocol 7. Throughout the ship, klaxons began sounding as the crew rushed to their combat positions. In engineering, Chief Petty Officer Williams initiated startup sequences for systems that hadn't been activated since the ship left Earth's orbital shipyard. Deep in the Defiance's hull, massive generators began drawing power from the ship's fusion reactors, channeling it into systems that the Galactic Council had never suspected existed. "Captain," called her science officer, "I'm detecting similar energy buildups from both the Resilience and Determination. All three ships are showing power signatures we've never seen before." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "That's because you've never seen a human warship drop its peacetime disguise before, Lieutenant Commander Torres." On the tactical display, the Void Hunter fleet continued its approach, their confidence apparent in their formation. The enemy vessels were massive, dreadnoughts that dwarfed the human ships by an order of magnitude, bristling with weapon systems that could reduce entire fleets to cosmic dust. "Enemy fleet entering optimal firing range," reported the tactical officer. "They're powering up weapons." "Maintain course," Chen ordered. "Wait for my command." The first salvo from the Void Hunter fleet lit up space like an artificial sun. Plasma beams that could melt through planetary crust lanced toward the three human ships, followed by a barrage of exotic matter torpedoes that warped space-time around them as they traveled. "Evasive maneuvers," Chen commanded. "All ships, implement defensive pattern Delta 7. The three human vessels suddenly burst into motion with an acceleration that should have been impossible for ships of their apparent size. They moved like dancers, weaving between the incoming fire with precision that suggested either incredible luck or impossibly advanced navigation systems. "Direct hit on the Resilience's port quarter," reported Torres. Chen watched the tactical display anxiously, but instead of the explosion she expected, she saw something that made her heart surge with pride. The determination had interposed itself between the damaged Resilience and the follow-up barrage, its newly activated deflector screens absorbing impacts that should have vaporized any known ship design. "Damage report from Captain Rodriguez," Park announced. "Hull breach sealed, minimal casualties. He says their adaptive armor held." The Void Hunter fleet commander's transmission crackled through the communication system, and this time the creature's voice carried a note of surprise. "Interesting. Your vessels are more resilient than anticipated. No matter, prepare to witness the true power of the Void." The enemy dreadnoughts began charging weapons that made their initial salvo look like firecrackers in comparison. Energy readings spiked beyond anything in the galactic databases as the Void Hunters prepared to unleash the same weapons that had destroyed entire civilizations. Chen gripped her command chair's armrests. "All ships, this is Defiance Actual. Time to show them what Protocol 7 really means. Initiate full combat transformation." Across all three human vessels, hull plating began retracting to reveal weapon systems that had been hidden beneath carefully designed camouflage. The seemingly peaceful exploration ships shed their disguises like snakes shedding skin, exposing the true nature of humanity's deep space fleet. The UES Defiance's hull split open along predetermined seams, revealing massive railgun batteries that had been concealed within what appeared to be cargo bays. The ship's profile changed dramatically as weapon pylons extended and targeting arrays deployed, transforming the vessel from an exploration ship into something that belonged in humanity's most classified military arsenals. Similar transformations were occurring aboard the Resilience and Determination. What the Galactic Council had taken for standard colony ships were revealing themselves to be humanity's answer to a hostile galaxy. Vessels designed to appear harmless while concealing enough firepower to level continents. "Transformation complete," Torres reported, her voice filled with awe despite having trained for this moment. "All weapon systems online. We are ready for full engagement." Chen allowed herself one last look at the tactical display, where the Void Hunter fleet hung in space like harbingers of doom, confident in their overwhelming superiority. They had no idea what they were about to face. "All ships," she announced calmly, "you are authorized to engage with extreme prejudice. Show them why nobody threatens humanity's children and lives to tell about it." The space around Kepler 442b exploded into light as three human warships opened fire with weapons that would rewrite the galaxy's understanding of human technological capabilities. The first human railgun salvo struck the Void Hunter flagship with the force of a controlled asteroid impact. The hypervelocity projectiles accelerated to significant fractions of light speed, punched through exotic matter shields that had previously been considered impenetrable. The massive dreadnought shuddered as its hull plating vaporized under the kinetic assault, exposing critical systems to the vacuum of space. Aboard the UES Defiance, Captain Chen watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction as her weapons officer called out targeting data. "Direct hits on the flagship's starboard weapon array. Their main plasma batteries are offline." The Void Hunter fleet's confident formation began to waver, as ships that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries suddenly found themselves under attack by weapons they couldn't comprehend. The exotic matter composing their hulls, which had made them nearly invulnerable to energy-based attacks, proved useless against humanity's kinetic bombardment systems. "This is impossible!" came the transmission from the Void Hunter commander, its voice now carrying notes of confusion and growing alarm. "Your primitive kinetic weapons should not penetrate our defenses!" Captain Rodriguez's voice crackled through the communication channel from the Resilience. "Sarah, their shields seem designed to deflect energy weapons exclusively. They've never faced pure kinetic bombardment on this scale." The three human ships continued their deadly dance through space, their advanced maneuvering systems allowing them to avoid the increasingly desperate counterfire from the Void Hunter fleet. What the enemy had mistaken for lucky evasion was actually the result of centuries of human military development hidden behind a facade of peaceful exploration. "Target the second dreadnought," Chen ordered. "Concentrate fire on their weapon pylons. Let's see how they like fighting without their reality-warping toys." The determination and resilience adjusted their positions, bringing their concealed weapon systems to bear on the second-largest Void Hunter vessel. The ship was a monument to dark technology, its hull inscribed with symbols that seemed to hurt the eyes of anyone who looked at them directly. It had been responsible for the destruction of the Keth Moran home system 2 centuries ago, reducing 12 billion souls to cosmic dust. The combined firepower of all 3 human vessels focused on this single target. Railgun projectiles traveling at impossible velocities hammered the dreadnought's hull, while guided missiles carrying fusion warheads exploited the breaches. The ancient ship, which had survived the rise and fall of empires, began to come apart under the relentless assault. "Enemy dreadnought breaking up," reported Torres excitedly. "Massive secondary explosions detected across its hull." The destruction of 2 capital ships sent shockwaves through the Void Hunter fleet. These creatures had dominated the galaxy through technological superiority and the terror their reputation inspired. They had never faced an enemy that could match their firepower, let alone exceed it through completely different technological approaches. The remaining Void Hunter ships began to change their formation, pulling back from the human vessels while charging weapons that blazed with dark energy. Their commander's transmission was now edged with something that might have been fear. "What manner of deception is this? Your species was cataloged as primitive, barely worthy of notice. These weapons, this coordination, it violates everything we know about human capabilities." Captain Chen activated the ship-wide communication system, broadcasting her response across all channels so that every Void Hunter vessel could hear. "You want to know our secret? We learned a long time ago that in a galaxy full of predators, the best defense is to make sure nobody knows you're the biggest predator of all." The revelation sent ripples of confusion through the enemy ranks. For over 1,000 years, the Void Hunters had been the apex predators of known space. The concept that a species they had dismissed as harmless could possess superior military technology challenged their fundamental understanding of galactic hierarchy. But the humans weren't finished revealing their capabilities. Captain Okafor's voice joined the communication channel, calm and professional, despite the chaos of battle surrounding them. "Captain Chen, my engineering team reports that our experimental weapons are fully charged and ready for deployment." "Experimental weapons?" Chen asked, though she already knew what Okafor was referring to. Every deep space colonization vessel carried prototypes of humanity's most advanced military technology, hidden so well that even the ship's crews didn't know about them until Protocol 7 was activated. "The quantum disruption torpedoes," Okafor confirmed. "Same technology the Void Hunters use, but we've made some improvements." The remaining Void Hunter ships detected the energy buildup immediately, their sensors screaming warnings about weapons that operated on principles they thought they had exclusive access to. The quantum disruption technology allowed the manipulation of space-time itself, creating weapons that could unravel the fundamental forces holding matter together. Impossible! The Void Hunter commander's transmission was now edged with panic. Quantum disruption technology requires millennia of development. Your species has barely achieved faster-than-light travel. Captain Rodriguez's laughter carried across the channel. You really don't understand humans at all, do you? We don't spend millennia developing technology. We steal it, reverse engineer it, and then make it better. Every time you've raided a human system over the past century, we've been studying the wreckage you left behind. The truth was even more devastating than the weapons themselves. Humanity hadn't developed their advanced military technology in isolation. They had systematically analyzed every piece of Void Hunter technology they could find, using their species' remarkable adaptability and engineering skills to not only replicate it, but improve upon it. The quantum disruption torpedoes launched from all three human ships simultaneously, their warheads phasing in and out of normal space-time as they approached their targets. The Void Hunters desperately tried to intercept them with their own defensive systems, but the human modifications made the weapons nearly impossible to track or destroy. When the torpedoes detonated, the effects were spectacular and terrifying. 3 more Void Hunter dreadnoughts simply ceased to exist, unraveled at the quantum level and scattered across multiple dimensions. The technology that had made the Void Hunters the scourge of the galaxy had been turned against them with devastating effectiveness. The surviving enemy ships began a chaotic retreat, their formation completely broken as panic spread through their ranks. Ships that had never known defeat were fleeing from 3 vessels they had initially dismissed as insignificant. But Captain Chen wasn't finished. All ships, pursue and destroy. We can't let any of them escape to report back to their main fleet. If word gets out that humans are capable of this level of military response, it could trigger a galaxy-wide war. The 3 human warships surged forward in pursuit, their engines revealing yet another hidden capability as they accelerated to speeds that should have been impossible for vessels of their apparent size. The Void Hunter retreat became a rout as the humans systematically hunted down and destroyed every enemy ship, their superior technology and tactical coordination overwhelming even desperate attempts at resistance. Within 2 hours of the initial engagement, the Void Hunter fleet that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries was completely annihilated. Not a single enemy vessel escaped to carry word of their defeat back to whatever dark realm had spawned them. As the last enemy ship exploded in a burst of exotic matter and twisted metal, Captain Chen activated the communication channel to address her fellow captains. Gentlemen, I believe we've successfully demonstrated that humanity is ready to take its place among the galaxy's major powers. Agreed, replied Captain Rodriguez, though I suspect the Galactic Council is going to have some very pointed questions about why we never mentioned our true military capabilities. Captain Okafor's voice carried a note of satisfaction. Let them ask. The safety of our colonies is non-negotiable. And today we've proven that anyone who threatens human civilians will face consequences they can't imagine. In the aftermath of the battle, as the 3 ships began the process of concealing their true nature once again, long-range sensors detected massive energy signatures emerging from the void at the edge of the solar system. The main Void Hunter armada was arriving, expecting to find their advance fleet victorious and the human colony reduced to ashes. Instead, they would find 3 apparently harmless exploration vessels quietly orbiting a thriving human settlement, with no sign that one of the most devastating space battles in galactic history had just concluded. Captain Chen smiled grimly as she watched the incoming signatures on her tactical display. The real test was about to begin. And humanity was ready to show the galaxy exactly what happened when someone threatened their children.